Okay, in this video, we'll be talking about linearizing an equation, how to linearize an equation. Now, linearizing an equation simply means make that equation to be like a straight line equation or compare it with a straight line equation, all right? Now, to linearize an equation, all you need to do is make the vertical component the subject of the formula. Most times when they give you a question like this, they say linearize t equals 2 pi root L over g. You see something on the side or in brackets, a plot of L versus t squared. All right. So a plot of L versus t squared is telling you about the graph. All right. The graph is a plot of L versus t squared. That's to say L is the vertical component and t squared is the horizontal component. The first one is always the vertical and then the second one is always the horizontal. All right. So when they say linearize an equation, they're simply telling you to make the vertical component the subject of the what? Formula. So the first thing we need to do here is to remove this square root so we can easily cross multiply and move L from one side of the equation to the other. So to do that, we square both sides first. So squaring both sides, we have t squared. We square the left hand side, that will give us t squared equals, now squaring the right hand side, if we square 2 pi, that will give us 4 pi squared. All right, and then we have times, this is root L over g all squared. Now square here is going to cancel square root, so we are left with just t squared equals 4 pi squared times L over g, and that is going to be equal to t squared equals 4 pi square L over g. Now remember, we want to make L subject of the formula, right? So we cross multiply here. T square is the same as saying t square all over 1. If we cross multiply, we have 4 pi square L times 1. That will give us 4 pi square L equals t squared times g. That will give us gt squared. If we divide both sides by 4 pi squared, we're going to have L as the subject. So that will give us 4 pi squared L over 4 pi squared equals gt squared over 4 pi squared. This is going to cancel out this, and then we'll be left with L equals gt squared over 4 pi squared. So this is the linearized equation. This is what we have. Now, in some cases, they can ask you to calculate the slope and intercept. All right, the slope and intercept. So to calculate slope and intercept, you compare it with straight line equation, which is y equals mx plus c. Y is our vertical component, m is what we call the slope, x is the horizontal component, and then c is the intercept. So coefficient of our horizontal component, okay, is always the slope. So you go to your linearized equation, identify the horizontal component, and then the coefficient or the number attached to it will be your slope. In this case here, we have L equals gt squared over 4 pi squared. What's our horizontal component? T squared. This is t squared is our horizontal component. So everything attached to t squared, that's the coefficient of t squared, is going to be our slope. So in this case, it simply means your slope will be equal to g over 4 pi squared. And then the intercept is simply that term that will be standing separately from the horizontal component and slope. All right, like we have here, c is our intercept, is separate from this and this. Now looking at what we have here, we don't have any number here or any letter standing separately here. So our intercept for this case is equal to 0. So this is how to linearize this equation. Now example 2 here says linearize t equals 2 pi root L squared plus k squared over GL. Now they gave you again a plot of LT squared versus L squared. Again, linearizing an equation simply means make the vertical component subject of the what? Formula. And our vertical component here is LT squared. Alright, which is the first component here. LT squared is your vertical. The second one will be your horizontal. First is always the vertical. The second one is the horizontal. Alright, so we need to make LT squared subject of the formula. Now, before we do that, we need to remove this square root so that we can easily move the letters about and see what we are doing. So to do that, we take square of both sides. We square both sides of the equation. We square left hand side, we square right hand side. Now, squaring left hand side, that will give us t squared. And squaring right hand side, we have 2 pi and then we have this. So we square 2 pi first. Let's say we have 2 pi all squared and then we have times. Now squaring this side, that will give us all square root. We have L squared plus K squared all over GL all squared. All right, so that will give you T squared equals 2 pi all squared. That will give you 4 pi squared times. Now square root will cancel squared, so we are left with times. We have L squared plus K squared over GL. And that's going to give us still the same thing as saying T squared equals 4 pi squared, all right, in bracket L squared plus K squared all over GL. Because 4 pi squared is the same as saying 4 pi squared over 1. 1 times this will give us GL. Now we have 4 pi squared times this. So which is what we have here. Now if we cross multiply here, that will give us GL times T squared. So we have GLT squared. GLT squared equals 4 pi squared L squared plus K squared times 1. That will give us 4 pi squared L squared plus K squared. All right. And then we need to make LT squared subject of the formula. Remember, all right. So we're almost there. So now we divide both sides by G. All right, and that will give us, we have all over G, all over G. This will cancel out this, and then we are left with LT squared equals 4 pi squared L squared plus K squared all over G. Now we can simplify further, and that will give us LT squared equals, can open up this bracket, 4 pi squared times L squared. That will give us 4 pi squared L squared. Now you can see this denominator here is for both L squared and K squared. All right, so you can say 4 pi squared L squared all over G. All right, and then 4 pi squared multiplying plus K squared, that will give us plus 4 pi squared K squared all over G again. This G covers everything. All right, so we need to indicate it. So this is our linearized equation here. This is our linearized equation. So in this case now, if they ask us for slope, again, we compare with straight line equation, y equals mx plus c. All right. Identify your horizontal here. Our horizontal is L squared, as you can see here. Okay. So everything that is attached to L squared is your slope. So say slope is equal to 4 pi squared over G. And then the intercept is that term that is standing alone. You can see it here very clearly. All right. Like we have here plus C separate. So our intercept here will be equal to 4 pi squared K squared over G. So this is our slope, this is our intercept, this is our linearized equation. Remember, linearizing an equation simply means make the vertical axis or component subject of the formula. The vertical is always the first component in your plot. First one they'll mention in your plot. So if you make it subject of the formula, that is the linearized equation. So moving on, we have another example here. They say linearize m equals y. We have bd squared. This is gamma over 4gl cubed. Now they gave us the plot again. It will always be given to you in the question. A plot of m versus y. All right. So we need to make m subject of the formula. So looking at our question, m is already the subject of the formula. So there is very little or nothing to do here. Okay. So we have m as the subject of the formula. So this equation is already linearized. M equals y. We have bd squared gamma over 4gl cubed. The equation is already linearized because we have our vertical components being m subject of the formula. So if you ask for the slope now, you identify your horizontal. This is your horizontal y. What is attached to the horizontal? This is everything attached to the horizontal. So we say our slope will be equal to BD squared gamma over 4G L cubed. How about the intercept? The intercept here is 0 because there's nothing after this, no other term standing separately. So intercept is 0. So this is how to linearize an equation. Please, if you're yet to subscribe to our channel, kindly hit the subscribers button and subscribe so you can see more videos and more educational contents like this.